Now, there's been a few different studies released over the past couple of years that indicate a clear majority of manufacturers, in most cases with these studies, it's been more than 90%, that are using smart manufacturing technologies, still, of course, need to hire more workers. So, in other words, even with the adoption of more advanced automation technologies, human workers are still very much in demand in manufacturing. So, considering this, how would you say implementing automation has changed the skill requirements for the manufacturing workforce?
Yeah, and there's a bit of a dichotomy there. So it kind of goes both directions. So in that welding example I provided earlier, what you see is you don't need as many highly skilled welders. So you can have some more people that do machine tending, or you can automate that machine tending. So then the needs for that labor then aren't as skilled in that situation. But in other situations, you see where you're taking, say, a really repetitive task off an assembly line or manufacturing line. You can then elevate that labor. You take that labor that was doing a routine task, and you're able to either train them, retain them, put them into a better position. We've seen a lot of facilities where operators have a very direct path into the maintenance field, which is just a more clear, higher level labor area, and those operators then have more value to the company, and they enjoy their career fields that much more. So you see a split going both directions with labor. You can get some cost savings with some of the labor that you're providing, but on the same hand you can also take some labor and elevate it into more advanced positions.
Now, this next thing I'm wondering about, it might be one of those cases where it's more specific to different verticals or applications like welding or machine tending and some of the things you've been mentioning already. But I'm wondering, when labor markets are tight like they are now and qualified candidates are difficult to find, as is the case for several years now, can you give some insight into specific types of automation that you've seen deployed that allow manufacturers to maintain production capacity with their current workforce?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's one of the big rises, one of the big changes we've seen lately is the rise of cobots.
Mhm.
One of the benefits to cobots is not necessarily that they're collaborative and can work, without the safety systems that you would typically see. That is a huge advantage. One of the biggest things is that they're so easy to program now. They're just click
Mhm.
and drag, point, move. So it really lowers the barrier to entry to working with that automation. So in that example of weld cells, you see those welders are now the ones that are modifying those robot controls rather
Mhm.
than having engineering, controls engineers, high level stuff coming in to make big changes to these systems, to these large cells. Now you have operators that are very comfortable and safely working with that automation.